Lieutenant Samantha Wright stood near the large window of the space station. She looked at the stars outside. The darkness of space was beautiful to her. Her commander, Captain Eric Coleman, walked up beside her. "Are you ready for the meeting?" he asked. Sam nodded. "Yes, sir. Though I still find it strange how these aliens view us." "Use it to our advantage," Eric said quietly. "Remember what Admiral Jackson said. Let them think what they want about humans for now." The two officers walked down the brightly lit hallway to the meeting room. The aliens had insisted on extra lighting everywhere humans went. Sam found it almost too bright, but she kept her face calm. Inside the room waited 3 Vraxi representatives. They were tall beings with skin that glowed from within. Their bodies gave off enough light to read by. The main alien, Ambassador Skatar, stood up when the humans entered. "Welcome, brave humans," said Skatar. His skin pulsed with blue and green patterns as he spoke. "We have prepared this room to your comfort standards." Sam looked around at the blazing lights and hidden glow panels in every corner. There wasn't a shadow anywhere. She smiled politely. "Thank you for your consideration." "Now," said Skatar, "let us discuss your species joining the Galactic Concord. We have 27 spacefaring civilizations working together. Humans will be the 28th. For an hour, they talked about trade, shared technology, and defense agreements. The aliens used many big words and complex terms, but Eric and Sam had studied well. "There is also the matter of colony security," said one of the other Vraxi. "We will provide special lighting systems for all human settlements. They generate a full-spectrum glow that will keep your people safe during night cycles." Sam looked at Eric, who gave a tiny nod. This was the 3rd time the aliens had mentioned lighting. "That is very generous," said Sam. "Our people will be grateful." Skatar's skin flashed with bright yellow pulses. "We protect our allies from their natural weaknesses. It is the way of the Concord." "Natural weaknesses?" asked Sam carefully. "Of course, all civilized species have them," said Skatar. "Your fear of darkness is nothing to be ashamed of. We understand prey animals often develop such fears." Sam almost laughed but kept her face serious. "I see. Thank you for your understanding." After the meeting, Sam and Eric walked back to their private quarters. As soon as the door closed, Eric started laughing. "They think we're afraid of the dark," he said, shaking his head. "Prey animals, they called us." Sam smiled. Every alien species in their alliance comes from daytime active creatures with poor night vision. The Vraxi literally glow in the dark. They've never met a species like ours before. Eric sat down and looked at the data tablet. Humans aren't perfect in darkness, but compared to them, we might as well be cats. And they have no idea. "Should we tell them the truth?" asked Sam. "That humans are comfortable in low light. That we evolved as predators who often hunted at dawn and dusk." Eric shook his head. "Admiral Jackson was clear about this. We let them believe what they want for now. We're new to the galactic community. We need to learn more before showing all our cards." Sam nodded slowly. "It could be an advantage someday, if there's ever trouble." "Exactly," said Eric. "The Vraxi and their allies rule the light, but darkness makes up most of the universe." He looked out the window at the stars. "And if trouble ever comes in the dark, they'll learn why Earth's history is full of stories about what lurks in the shadows," finished Sam. "And it's us," said Eric with a smile. "We lurk in the shadows. We always have." Sam looked back at the stars. For millions of years, humans had feared what might be hiding in the dark. The irony was clear to her now. Soon, the aliens might learn to fear what was hiding in the dark too. And it would be humans. 6 months passed since Earth joined the Galactic Concord. Commander Frank Ortiz now worked at Europa Base, helping humans settle into the wider universe. The aliens had been nice enough, but they always treated humans like children who needed help. Frank stood at the large window in the main hall. The base orbited Jupiter, and the gas giant filled most of the view. Next to him stood Pelthori Ambassador Shinra, Her body looked like it was made of clear crystal that bent light in beautiful ways. "Your people have adapted well," said Shinra. Her voice sounded like small bells. "Though it is sad you must use so much power for lights." Frank nodded politely. "We manage. The universe is mostly darkness," Shinra continued. "It must be difficult for a species with your limitations." Frank just smiled and said nothing. The aliens still didn't know that humans could see quite well in low light. Earth's leaders had decided to keep this secret for now. The truth was simple. Most Concord species had evolved on worlds with very bright suns or even multiple suns. Their eyes worked best in strong light. Humans, who evolved under a fairly dim sun with regular night cycles, had much better night vision than most aliens. Frank's comm unit beeped. "Excuse me," he said to Shinra. He stepped away to take the call. It was Admiral Baker. "Commander, we have a situation. Report to command immediately." 10 minutes later, Frank stood in a room with representatives from 5 alien species. Admiral Baker spoke to the group. "The Morax have attacked 3 Concord outposts along the Orion Arm," said Baker. "They're a hostile species not part of the Concord." A hologram showed the attacked areas. The Morax ships were strange, with bumpy surfaces and no visible windows. Sktar, the Vrax E ambassador, looked worried. His skin pulsed with dark red patterns. "The Morax know our weakness. They attack stations during power failures when lights are down. Fighting in darkness is difficult for most Concord species." Frank saw an opportunity. "Humanity would be willing to help with operations in dark conditions," he offered. "We've developed ways to work around our limitations." The aliens looked at each other. Frank could tell they were concerned about putting their new, fragile human allies in danger. But they also seemed desperate. "Very well," said Sktar finally, "but only in support roles. No direct fighting. We would not ask you to face your greatest fear." Frank nodded seriously. "Of course, just support." 2 weeks later, Frank stood in the briefing room of the human ship _Nighthawk_. Before him were 50 specially selected human soldiers. They were part of a new unit created in secret, the Night Operators. "The situation is this," Frank explained. "The Morax are attacking Concord stations when they're dark. The Concord species can barely see in low light. They think we can't either." "But we can," said Lieutenant Kelly Ross. "Exactly," Frank replied. "Not perfectly, but much better than they can. Our orders are to provide support during nighttime operations." He showed them images of the enemy. "The Morax evolved as burrowing creatures. They have poor eyesight and rely on smell and vibration. They use technology to compensate in battle. They don't expect anyone to see well in the dark." Kelly raised her hand. "Sir, what about our Concord supervisors? Won't they notice what we're doing?" Frank smiled. "They'll be staying safely on their brightly lit command ships. They've given us light-emitting equipment that could illuminate a small moon." The soldiers laughed. "Which we will only use when they're watching," Frank continued. "Special Directive 7 is now in effect. Do not show our real night capabilities except in emergencies. As far as the Concord knows, we're just brave humans facing our fears to help our allies." 3 days later, the Night Operators deployed to their first mission. The Morax had attacked a mining station, cutting its power. The station was dark and cold. The human team moved through the darkness with ease. They wore minimal night vision gear, just enough to enhance their already good natural vision. The Morax never saw them coming. When they returned to the Concord ship, they made sure to act relieved to be back in the light. "Such brave creatures," said Sktar to another alien, "to go into the darkness despite their fear." Frank just smiled and said nothing. The human's secret was safe. For now, Lieutenant Olivia Garcia stood before 30 men and women in the briefing room of the ship _Shadowdancer_. They were the first team of a new special unit called the Night Wolves. All of them had been chosen for their excellent night vision and combat skills. "Listen up," Olivia said. The Concorde thinks we're just watching and helping from the back. They don't know what we're really doing." She touched a button, and a 3D map appeared in the air. It showed a Morax supply base built into a small moon. "Our job is to hit the Morax where they don't expect it," she continued. "We cut their supply lines, we damage their ships, and we do it all in the dark." Chief Alan Rodriguez raised his hand. "What about our alien supervisors? Won't they wonder how we're doing all this?" Olivia smiled. "They're staying on their bright ships where they feel safe. They've given us all kinds of lights and glowing markers." The team laughed. Humans didn't need those things, but the aliens didn't know that. "Remember Special Directive 7? Olivia said in a serious voice. "Don't show what we can really do in the dark unless there's an emergency. The aliens think we're scared of darkness, but doing our best to help anyway. Let them keep thinking that." That night, the Night Wolves went to work. They wore dark suits that hid their body heat. They carried special weapons that made almost no noise. They moved through the darkness of space and into the Morax base. The Morax never saw them coming. These aliens had evolved from burrowing animals. They had poor eyesight and used smell and feeling vibrations to find their way. They relied on machines to see, but their machines looked for heat and movement. The Night Wolves knew how to stay cool and move slowly when needed. They planted bombs on fuel tanks. They broke navigation systems. They stole enemy plans. And they did it all without being seen. When they returned to the Concorde command ship, they made sure to act tired and happy to be back in the light. "I don't know how you do it," said a Vraxi officer, his skin glowing with blue patterns of respect. "To go into the darkness when you fear it so much." "We just focus on the mission," Olivia said, trying to sound brave but scared. "Humans can push through fear when we need to." The Vraxi believed her. All the Concorde species did. None of them guessed that humans were not fighting their fears in the darkness. They were using the darkness as a weapon. Over the next few months, the Night Wolves hit Morax bases all over the sector. The Morax could not understand how their supplies kept disappearing, how their ships kept breaking down, how their secret plans kept leaking to the Concorde. They started to whisper about ghosts in the darkness. Some Morax soldiers refused to work night shifts. Some even left their posts out of fear. Meanwhile, in the bright halls of Concorde command ships, aliens continued to praise the brave humans who faced the darkness despite their natural fear. "It's almost too easy," Alan said to Olivia after one mission. They sat in the human-only section of the shadowed in Sir, where they could talk freely. "Don't get cocky," Olivia warned. "The Morax are starting to use more sensors. They know something is happening, even if they don't know what. But they still don't suspect humans," Alan pointed out. "How could they? Everyone knows humans are afraid of the dark." Olivia nodded. "That's our advantage. No one expects the scared prey to be the hunter." On the main screen of the room, they watched the next target, a major Morax fuel depot hidden in the shadow of a large gas planet. It would be completely dark there, perfect for hunting. "Night Wolves move out in 6 hours," Olivia announced. "Get some rest. Tonight, we hunt again." The team cheered quietly. They were getting good at this. Too good, perhaps. Olivia wondered how long they could keep their secret. Admiral Larry Peterson stood tall in front of the Concorde High Command. The big room was filled with aliens from many different species. They all looked at the human with a mix of respect and worry. "The Morax have lost 12 supply bases in the last 3 months," Larry said. He pointed to a map that showed stars and planets. "They are pulling back from these areas." Grand Admiral Vextol of the Vraxi nodded. His skin glowed bright yellow, which humans now knew meant he was impressed. "Your people have shown great courage," Vextol said. "To face the darkness for the good of all, despite your natural fear, is most brave." Larry bowed his head slightly. "We do what we can. Humans try to help our friends even when we are afraid." What Larry didn't say was that human special teams had done much more than just help. The Night Wolves and other human units had been directly fighting the Morax. They moved in darkness, attacked in darkness, and left in darkness. The enemy never saw them. After the meeting, Larry walked down a quiet hallway. A tall crystal being stepped out to join him. It was General Krista of the Pelthori. Her crystal body made soft sounds as she moved. "Admiral Peterson," she said quietly, "may I speak with you in private?" Larry nodded, and they stepped into a small room. Krista dimmed her natural glow, which was unusual for her kind. "There are stories," she said in a low voice. "Stories about shadows that move within shadows, about Morax found with wounds that suggest close fighting." Larry kept his face calm. "Space is a dangerous place, General, especially in the dark." Krista's crystals flickered with blue light. Humans had learned this might mean suspicion. "Indeed," she said after a moment. "Very dangerous." She left without saying more, but Larry felt worried. The Pelthori were smart, maybe too smart. They might start to figure out the truth about humans. That night, in his private room, Larry made a big decision. He called a secure meeting with all human commanders. "It's time for Operation Hunter's Moon," he told them. "The Morax are planning something big. We need to hit them harder than ever before." Commander Beth Hayes looked surprised. "Sir, that's over 3,000 operators. If we deploy that many at once, the Concord might notice." "I know the risk," Larry said, "but the Morax are gathering a fleet near Taw City. If they attack in force, many will die." Everyone was quiet for a moment. Then Beth nodded. "Night Wolves are ready, sir." "Shadowrunners standing by," said another officer. One by one, they'd all agreed. This would be the biggest night operation in human history. That evening, all across Concord space, human ships went into what they called energy-saving mode. They turned off most lights, claiming it was to save power. The alien ships nearby offered to send over extra lights, but the humans politely refused. "We'll manage," they said. "It's good practice for us to face our fears." In the darkness of those ships, thousands of human operators prepared for battle. They checked their gear, studied maps, and got ready to move out. Larry watched from his command center as the first teams left. They moved through the darkness of space like silent hunters. The aliens would never know what hit them. "Hunt well," he whispered. Unknown to Larry, on a Pelthori ship nearby, General Krista stood watching the human vessels. She noticed how they moved with the lights off. She noticed how they didn't seem to bump into things or get lost. "They move too well for beings who fear the dark," she said to herself. "Far too well." She made a note to watch the humans more closely. Something wasn't adding up. But by then, Operation Hunter's Moon was already underway. The night hunt had begun. The moment of truth came during the Battle of Proxima Centauri. The Morax, tired of losing supply bases, launched a big attack against a main Concord station. They were smart about their timing. They hit when the station was having power problems, and most of the place was dark. Captain Nicole Ramirez and her 20 Marines were caught in the middle of it all. They had been on the station as security helpers for the Concord. Now they found themselves between scared, running Concord aliens and attacking Morax warriors. "Fall back to the light," screamed Ambassador Skatar. His skin flashed bright red with fear patterns. "Humans, you must run. You cannot fight in darkness." Nicole looked at her team, then at the panicking aliens. Some were hurt. They would not make it to safety if the Morax caught them. She had to make a choice right now: keep pretending humans were afraid of the dark, or save lives. "Directive 7 is canceled," she said into her comm unit. "I repeat, Directive 7 is canceled. Night Wolves rules now." Her Marines understood immediately. They turned off their bright safety lights. They spread out in the dark hallway. They moved like they had practiced hundreds of times. The Morax came around the corner, expecting easy targets. They found hunters instead. Nicole's team moved with quick, quiet steps. They knew where each other were without having to see clearly. They struck fast and hard. They used the shadows as cover. They fought like Earth predators had fought for millions of years, in the darkness with all senses alert. When the emergency lights finally came on 3 hours later, the surviving Concord people stared in shock. Nickel and her Marines stood calmly among dozens of defeated Morax fighters. The humans were not panicking. They were not lost. They had fought in almost total darkness, and they had won. You can see in the dark," said Skatar. His skin pulsed with patterns the human translators couldn't fully understand. Nickel shrugged. "Not great. Not like some Earth animals. But we see well enough." "But your species fears darkness," said a Christ official, his insect-like mandibles clicking fast in confusion. "No," Nickel said simply. "We never said that. You assumed it." News of what happened at Proxima Centauri spread fast. Recordings from security cameras showed Nickel's Marines fighting effectively in darkness. The videos were sent to every corner of Concord space. Some aliens were angry. Some were scared. Many felt tricked. "You lied to us," said a Pelthori representative during an emergency meeting. Admiral Larry Peterson stood calm before the angry council. "We never lied. We just didn't correct your wrong idea about us." "But why keep this secret?" asked Skatar. "Because we were new to space," Larry explained. "We didn't know who to trust. We needed some advantages of our own." The council room got very loud with angry voices. Many wanted humans to leave Concord space. They said humans could not be trusted. It was General Krista who finally brought order back. She raised her crystal arms, and light flashed through her body in a way that made everyone stop talking. "Before we act in anger," she said, "we should think about what we've seen. The humans did not use this ability against us. They used it to protect us." She turned to look at Larry. "Is that not right, Admiral?" Larry nodded. "Humans can see better in darkness than most Concord species. We evolved that way on Earth. But we have only used this ability to fight the Morax, to protect the Concord. And you have done it well," Krista said. "Perhaps too well. You let us believe you were afraid so we would not be afraid of you." "Yes," Larry admitted. "That is true." The council went quiet. They had to decide what to do about these humans, these creatures who could hunt in the darkness they all feared. The Concord Central Council called an emergency meeting after what people now called the Proxima Revelation. Videos of human Marines fighting well in darkness had spread everywhere. Dr. Diane Harris, Earth's top expert on alien biology, stood before the council. The room was filled with nervous representatives from all Concord species. "Humans evolved as hunters," she explained in a calm voice. "While we are not naturally night animals, our eyes adjust well to low light. Our ancestors learned to hunt at dawn and dusk, when many prey animals are active, but it's hard to see." "Why was this information kept from the Concord?" demanded Christ Speaker Clickthrill. His insect mandibles clicked rapidly to show he was upset. Ambassador Kevin Wells stepped forward. He was Earth's main representative to the Concord. "With respect, Speaker, we did not hide it," Kevin said. "You assumed humans feared darkness. We simply did not correct you. You let us believe a lie," accused Skatar. His skin flashed angry red patterns. "As you let us believe humans were somehow less than other species," Kevin replied calmly. "Cultural misunderstandings happen both ways, Ambassador." The room erupted in angry shouting. Many representatives demanded that humans leave Concord space immediately. Some even suggested humans were too dangerous to be allies. It was Pelthori Elder Shimmer who finally restored order. Her crystal body glowed with a soft white light that made everyone quiet down. "Before we act in anger," she said, "we should think about what we've seen. The humans did not use their abilities against us. They used them to protect us." She turned to look at the human representatives. "Is that not correct?" Kevin nodded. "Earth joined the Concord in good faith. We have fought only to defend it. Then perhaps, said Elder Shimmer, we should be thankful for these abilities instead of fearful of them. Over the next few days, the council debated what to do. Some still wanted humans gone. Others saw the value in having allies who could operate in darkness. In the end, they reached a compromise. Humans could stay in the Concord, but they had to be more open about their abilities. No more secrets. As part of this new openness, Dr. Harris gave a presentation to the Concord scientific community. Humans are not special in the galaxy, she explained to the room full of alien scientists. Many worlds have produced predator species. What is unusual is that humans combined predator instincts with social cooperation. She showed images of Earth animals. Our planet has many creatures with better night vision than humans. Cats can see in light 6 times dimmer than what we need. Owls can hunt in almost total darkness. The aliens watched with great interest. Most came from worlds where the top animals were more like rabbits or deer than wolves or lions. But if humans are predators, asked a Vraxi scientist, why do you not fight each other all the time? Why work together? Because we are social predators, Dr. Harris said. Like wolves or lions on Earth, we hunt in groups. We protect our pack. And now, the Concord is our pack. This idea seemed to comfort many of the aliens. If humans saw them as part of their pack, then perhaps they were safe. After the meeting, General Krista approached Dr. Harris privately. I have studied your people, Krista said. You are not telling the whole truth even now. Dr. Harris raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? Humans are not just good at seeing in darkness, Krista said. You use the darkness itself as a weapon, as a tool. You think in ways we do not. Dr. Harris smiled slightly. Is that a bad thing? Not bad, Krista replied. Just different, and perhaps exactly what the Concord needs right now. She looked out a window at the darkness of space. The Morax hate the light. They live in darkness by choice, and now they face an enemy who can hunt them there. Yes, said Dr. Harris. The hunters have become the hunted. After the truth about humans came out, things changed in the Concord. At first, many aliens were scared of humans. Some avoided human areas on ships and stations. Others watched humans carefully, as if waiting for them to attack. But as weeks passed, fear slowly turned to interest. Then interest turned to respect. The Morax were still attacking, and everyone knew humans were good at fighting them. Colonel Philip Carter had an idea. He brought it to the Concord military leaders. We should create a special team, he told them. The Concord Night Brigade. Humans will teach other species how to work in darkness. Some leaders laughed at the idea. Our people cannot see in dark places like humans can, said a Christ commander. True, Philip agreed. But with training and the right tools, they can learn to work around that weakness. After much debate, the Concord approved his plan. 5,000 humans volunteered to help. Representatives from 12 different alien species joined them. The training center was built on a small moon. One half was always in shadow, perfect for practice. Philip stood before the mixed group on their first day. For too long, the Concord has feared the dark, he said to them all. We let our enemies own the night by default. No more. Humans will teach what we know, and we will learn from you in return. The training was hard. Most Concord species really did struggle with darkness. The Vraxi, who glowed all the time, had to learn to cover their light. The Pelthori, whose crystal bodies refracted even the smallest bit of light, had to adapt their movements. The Crest had decent night senses, but poor coordination in teams. Human teachers were patient. They developed new techniques. They invented new tools to help. Concord scientists created technology to make up for biological limits. The key is not to fight your nature, Philip explained to a frustrated group of Vraxi trainees. We don't expect you to see like humans. We want you to use your own strengths in new ways. He showed them how to use their natural glow as a weapon. By controlling when and how they revealed their light, they could confuse enemies or signal teammates without words. During this training time, humans learned important things too. They discovered they weren't the only predator species in the galaxy. They were just the only ones in the Concord. Most true predator species destroy themselves, explained Dr. Harris during a lesson. They are too territorial, too aggressive to form large societies. The Morax are prey animals who develop technology and aggression to make up for their physical weaknesses. So what makes humans different? Asked a Pelthori student. We balance our predator instincts with social cooperation, Dr. Harris said. We are dangerous, yes, but we can work together better than most predator species. After 6 months of training, the first Concord Night Brigade was ready. They were a mix of all species, each bringing their own strengths. Humans provided the night fighting skills. The Vraxi brought controlled light displays. The Pelthori used their crystal bodies to bend light in useful ways. The Crest contributed their excellent sense of smell and darkness. Their first mission was to defend a Concord colony world near the edge of Morax space. The Morax attacked at local night, cutting power to the main city. They expected easy targets in the dark. Instead, they found the Night Brigade waiting for them. The battle was short but fierce. Working together, humans and aliens moved through the darkness with purpose and skill. The Morax, used to enemies who fumbled in the dark, were completely surprised. When dawn came, the colony was safe. The Night Brigade had not lost a single member. News of their success spread quickly across Concord space. More aliens volunteered for training. More colonies requested Night Brigade protection. The hunters in the dark were growing stronger. 5 years after humans joined the galaxy, the war with the Morax ended. It did not end with a big battle, but with a peace meeting. Ambassador Hannah Okafor represented Earth at this important meeting. Representatives from all Concord species sat with her at a large round table. Across from them sat the Morax delegation. The Morax looked less aggressive than usual. The terms are fair, Hannah said, sliding the peace agreement forward. The Concord wants to live in peace with you, not control you. The main Morax negotiator, Controller Grask, studied her with his compound eyes. He looked like a mix between an ant and a mole with tough skin and strong digging claws. We have watched how your kind moves in darkness, Grask said finally. Like the shadow hunters from our ancient stories, our ancestors evolved to fear such hunters. Hannah nodded. And yet here we sit, talking instead of fighting. Because predators understand something prey does not, Grask replied. The difference between hunting to live and killing for no reason. This was a surprise. The Morax were admitting they understood what humans were. They knew humans were predators who could hunt in darkness. The peace agreement was signed that night. As a show of trust, the final signatures were made during a time when all 3 moons were hidden, making the room very dark. In the years that followed, humans' reputation changed. They went from being the species that hunts in darkness to the species that showed us darkness need not be feared. Human night fighting methods became standard training throughout Concord space. At the same time, Concord-like technology helped humans see even better in the dark. Admiral Larry Peterson stood on the bridge of Earth's newest ship, the _Nighthunter_. Beside him stood General Krista of the Pelthori and Ambassador Skatar of the Vraxi. 5 years ago, we thought you feared the dark, Skatar said, his skin glowing with friendly blue patterns. We could not have been more wrong. Larry smiled. And we thought you might reject us if you knew the truth about humans. Both sides made mistakes, Krista said, but we have learned from them. The ship was patrolling the edge of Concord space. Reports had come in about a new species that might be hostile. Like the Morax, they seemed to prefer darkness. Should we increase lights to maximum? Asked a Vraxi officer. The new species might attack at night. No, said Larry. We no longer fear the dark in Concord space. If they come at night, they will find we are ready. The 3 leaders looked out at the stars. Somewhere in the darkness between those points of light, unknown ships might be moving. But the Concord was prepared now. Humans had taught them how to face the darkness. On distant planets throughout the galaxy, when young aliens expressed fear of the dark, their parents would often tell them, "The darkness is nothing to fear." Our human friends have shown us that. They were once afraid too, but they made the darkness their own. The adults knew this wasn't exactly true. Humans had never really feared the dark. But some stories are more important than being perfectly true. And somewhere in the darkness between stars, human ships patrolled, keeping watch with eyes that had evolved to see in shadows. Because sometimes the most effective guardian is the predator who is chosen to protect rather than hunt. As the _Night Hunter _ continued its patrol, Larry thought about how far they had come. From being seen as weak prey animals to being respected as powerful allies. "We should thank the Vraxi," he said suddenly. "Thank us? For what?" asked Skatar, surprised. "For assuming we feared the dark," Larry replied with a smile. "It gave us the chance to show what humans can really do." Krista made a sound like crystal bells ringing. A Pelfori laugh. "And now the whole galaxy knows. Never assume a human fears the dark, because that is where they hunt best."